In past seasons, there has been one dominant figure who stands atop the timing and scoring week in and week out, and that driver has been Gernot Frische. This season looked to be no different at the start, with Gernot taking the victory at Watkins Glen. As the season progressed, however, Thomas Simon has gone from being an already fast driver to a serious championship threat. Simon was victorious last week at Oulton Park, and today another British circuit awaits them. Hello and welcome to the GSRC's coverage of Round 6 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Up in the booth today will be Ossian Puhaka, joining yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Sean Crackers Ambrose has director's duties for today's event, and as always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Today's challenge for the drivers is Brands Hatch, a track that hasn't seen a Formula One race since 1986, where Nigel Mansell won his second straight race here. It's a track that many drivers love and many drivers dread at the same time. To see why, let's take a closer look at Brands Hatch with the GSRC track guide.
All right, we've got Juha Norlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Brands Hatch. Coming up to Paddock Hill Bend, expect to see a lot of errors into this blind corner. It's tough to brake steady and hit the apex while maximizing your speed. The car compresses at the bottom, and then you're quickly braking for Druids. This is where many passes are likely to happen, but the braking zone is short, so it'll be very tough. Off the corner, switch sides for Graham Hill Bend. You can use plenty of the runoff, but try not to let the car go too wide because there are dangers in clipping the grass. Then comes Surtees, which is deceptively hard with its late apex. Preventing wheel spin off the corner is not just about keeping the car safe, but also about giving yourself a good run up through Pilgrim's Drop. It's not ideal to have to go too wide through Hawthorne because of how little you slow the car into this terrifying sweeper. Now we're onto the back half of the course. Westfield requires you to barely clip the apex, and once again, try not to drift too far outside onto the runoff. Swing it through Dingledale and then set the car up for Sheen. The apex is almost impossible to see until you're right on top of it. Then you've got Sterling, where the banking really rewards those who carry the momentum right down to the bottom. Finally, you get a short breather on the run to clear ways. This can sometimes offer a chance to pass, but the crest coming into Clark usually causes awkward understeer. As you make the run to the line, hopefully you kept it all together and have now finished a lap around Brands Hatch.
Are you looking to take advantage of GSRC's over 1 million global monthly impressions? From official series sponsorships to commercial placements, we have advertising options customizable to suit your company's needs. To learn more, follow the link in the description. And while you're checking that out, to learn more about Brands Hatch, I'm going to throw it over to Ozzy to tell us a little more about today's circuit.
Yes, indeed. 9 turns, 2.3 miles, 3.7 kilometers. It's not a very long circuit. It certainly doesn't have too many corners, but each and every one of them is more demanding than the last. From the Druid's hairpin, you start from the Paddock Hill Bend, then you go to the Druid's hairpin. You go all the way to each and every corner faster than one another across the lap, and it's so demanding. It's so on the edge all this time. They've been racing here with bicycles first since the 1920s, then motorcycles, and finally they put tarmac on and put cars racing here. It has nearly 100 years of history in terms of various forms of racing, and today we are making one more chapter into that marvelous book, Nick.
Absolutely. As we take a look at our race details, this is a track that is really going to test some of these drivers as we really start to lean on those points more and more. We'll take a look at those points in a moment, but it is round 6 of 13, 37 laps around here, which, like you said, sounds like a lot, but it'll go by in a hurry. Open setups, and of course, they're going to have 17 incidents. Hopefully, they don't get 75. They won't be able to because 25 is going to disqualify them from the session. But Ozzy, yeah, I mentioned those points there for a moment. And Gernot Frische, he's got the lead, but he's actually missed a week. And Thomas Simon has missed a week, and he's still only 4 points back.
Yeah, and you do have 4 drop weeks, so that's not too bad of a loss. But again, Thomas is looking very, very strong this year, and he's only 4 points back. You got Chris Bauman in P number 3, only 10 points back. It's still pretty much a 3-way fight. Then you got Milborn and Vaskilampi. Vaskilampi has had wheel troubles through the latter portion of the season, through the early portion of the season. So he hasn't been strong last couple of weeks. He's not going to be strong this week. So I've heard Millward might still be there, but I think it's a three-way fight. Fritsch, Simon, and Baumann. And I say bring it on.
Absolutely. That's what they're saying over in the team's points as well, which has gone untouched for a couple of weeks. The only difference you'll see here are the intervals in between Candy Team Tyrrell and the Parmalat Racing Team, now separated by 13 points, back 21 points to Team Essex Lotus. The Warsteiner Arrows, the reigning champs over in the team standings, they're down 37 points. And Team McLaren still holding on to staying in the top 5, staying on the graphics screen. They are down quite a ways, 61 points, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw them make some strides. They've got some fast drivers on that team as well.
Yeah, they do. Andy T sadly missing today on his home ground in Brands Hatch. Well, not quite his home ground, but still a familiar circuit to him. He likes it very much, but sadly can't be here this week. He'll be back next week, I'm sure of that, watching from the grandstand this week, actually. So hi, Andy. And with that, I think qualifying, should we move on to that? Because we got 4 minutes left, some fast times already on the board, and Tomas Shimon in the lead with quite a hardy gap over there.
Yeah, this they're running 1 minute 12 second laps right now. I think you mentioned Simone. Yeah, it really is. Simone has the provisional pole with Vaskalampi right behind him. Now, Ozzy, this track I've always liked driving at. I don't so much like racing at because the turns here are so deceptive. You can really carry a lot more speed than you think you can, but you oftentimes don't realize that until you're already out of the turn and you've already lost a little bit of ground.
Yeah, and it's all about commitment here. You can see the drivers coming. See Bycroft here on the screen, and he improves a little bit, goes 112.5. In fact, is at P number 3, and he's not going to be at racing speed. Paul J. Williams coming across the line next. He's going to finish his what we think is his first lap. Another UK driver going into 113.7 here. But you're gonna see a lot of difference between drivers who are just racing to finish and drivers who are committed to each and every inch of that racetrack. And if we jump on board with Gernot Fritsch, who is right now on his first time lap, you're gonna see exactly what I mean. There's so many corners that are so fast, and you can see no curb on the exit of turn number 7 there. There is no curb at all. There is grass, and it's a blind corner. And you're going there at speeds of 120, 130 miles an hour. So, it's so much commitment that you need to do here. And here he starts his second lap. First lap going to be a timed one, and it's going to be a 112.9. Not so good from Gernot in his first time round, but second lap, I'm sure he's going to be faster.
You can see him use all of those curves. He didn't have a single tire on the track there for a moment. That's why it's so easy to make a mistake here. You're going over so much elevation, so much artificial elevation with those curbs. You're going to see them use the AstroTurf here a lot as well. And you could have a good race here, but it's a track you really have to stay focused at, because a lot of times the corner exit and the corner entrance for the next turn become the same thing. And there you see Chris Baumann lose a little bit of focus as he spins on his qualifying lap. That is certainly going to hurt him. He's down in 13th place right now.
Yeah, and it's not an easy track to overtaking at all. We're going to talk about it more in the race, but if we saw difficulties in overtaking last week at Oldham Park, it's going to be even more difficult this week, because you're going to be basically relying on the mistake by the driver in front. And Jamie Hall coming across the line here. This is his first lap, we believe, 112.8 for Jamie. It's a good lap, but it's not quite what Jamie was hoping for. He's going to be 7th. Gernot coming across the line here, taking right to the inside line, 10 to the middle. Will we see improvement from Gernot? 112.5 we do, and that's going to elevate him into 4th place. However, I would say only 4th place, and more crucially, 3.5 tenths down from our pole sitter, Tomas Shimon.
The starts here as well are always chaotic. Qualifying so essential. Oh, as Brian Blackford touches the grass just a little bit right at the start of the lap down into turn 1. That's such a blind corner. Kind of reminds me of turn 1 at Road Atlanta. And Alex Millward struggling as well. Man.
And he doesn't have a qualifying time yet, Alex.
Oh,
and this
no.
is his final chance, because he's going to run out of time. He's not going to have time to finish his second lap, so that's his chance. And I wonder if he took an incident from that one, because he was mighty sideways. Could have been a 2x. Let's see if it counts. For Alex, it does not count.
No.
So that would have been a 120 anyway, and that means he's going to be starting stone dead cold last, 24th place for Alex, and that's going to be a mighty charge. I just know it already. I wonder if it's going to end up like the charge of the Light Brigade, but it's going to be a charge anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a steep hill to climb here at Brands Hatch. Just a couple of seconds left in qualifying. Most drivers, I believe, just putting in their third or fourth laps for practice. It's going to be Tomas Simon on the pole, but look at this. Freak Tenkata in the 13 car is going to be starting alongside of him on the front row. Steve Bycroft and Gernot Friesche going to be starting in row number 2 behind him, with Jamie Hall rounding out the top 5. The 7 of Hall will be lining up alongside the 4 of Vascalampi, with Mike Rasmus and A2 Vainino Kangas in 8th place. Roman Pavlowski and Carl Villeneuve will round out the top 10.
Oscar Rinne starting this race 11th. Alongside him will be Juanmi Costa, Barry West 13th, Chris Baumann only 14th, and not a poor qualifying performance for him in a row. Dylan Freckleton 15th, Sam Doby 16th, Paul Williams and Derek Rollwell 17 and 18. Then it's Dennis Shanning and Andrew Dixon. I'm just gonna round out your last 4 guys here. Robert Flamley, the veteran, starting 21st, with Edmund Blackadder 22nd. Brian Blackford 23rd, and Alex Milward stone dead last. As we said, he's gonna have a mighty hill to climb, and we're not just talking about Paddock Hill Bend here, Nick.
They start on the banked front stretch here. That's where they line up. Tomas Simon in that bright red number 3 car. He's gonna try to time this start perfectly and get the edge. Watch out for row 2. Steve Bycroft and Gernot Friesche. Friesche is going to have a tough start here on the outside behind him, as they will funnel their way down into turn number 1, downhill bend.
And it's so difficult to start here too. Just briefly going to mention it because the front straight is banked, so you're going to have to fight for the traction here.
Absolutely. Hopefully those cars don't get out of hand as the lights start to go up. Tomas Simon is away to the races, as is the rest of the field. A little bit of wiggling from everyone, including Simon. That's going to give on the outside Freak Tenkata the whole shot. He's going to get to the lead, but is he going to be able to hold on to it? He's going to have to cover off that 3 car. Simon is going to get to his inside here in turn number 2. He's going to take back that lead as a car flies Friesche.
Yeah, Gernot is out on the sand. He's gonna fight his way back to the track. No wall hits, but and there's a hit in front of him. That's Sam Doby spinning around, and they're gonna hit Gernot as well, because there was a checkup, and Alex Milward hit Gernot, I think, in the back there. So, that's a lot of drama for a lot of good contenders here early on in the race, but the leaders continue on.
It's a 2-car breakaway in front of the 2 dozen in the race. Tomas Simon and Freak Tenkata, a little bit of battling behind them for the podium. Steve Bycroft trying to hold off Mike Rasmus now, who's gone from 7th all the way up to 4th.
Yeah, he had an excellent start, was able to avoid all the mayhem into turn number 1 and turn number 2. Reed's hairpin, always a difficult place, and Mike is looking for his best race result here. He's got Steven Freak ahead of them, and we know about Freak Tenkata. He's fast in qualifying, but his race pace sometimes suffers. I wonder if he can stack it up to Tomas. Is anyone gonna be able to stack it up to Tomas today?
Well, he would like to break away from the field. That's exactly what he's doing. He's got a half-second lead as he crosses the line and leads lap number 1. He's just got to stay dialed in for the next 36 ahead of him.
Yeah, indeed. And behind them, further behind them, you got great battles here in the midfield. Dylan Freckleton, Derek Rollwell, Barry West as well, fighting 13th, 14th, 15th ahead of them as well. Great packs. And those are the guys we're going to be watching. As the leaders are starting to get a little bit more spread apart in these early portions of the race, you can just see Tomas, stretching out his legs a little bit out front. Further behind them, however, a lot of great drivers involved in a great mix. Chris Baumann in 11th is who I'm focusing on, because he has a steep hill to climb, but he's starting on early. He's gained 3 positions in lap number 1, and he's going to be gaining some more as the race goes on. But as we said, overtaking very difficult here, so it's going to be very exciting. Very exciting to follow his progress.
Absolutely. Same for Gernot Friesche, who he's going to have to make up a lot of progress. We are going to be able to take a look back at that replay from the start. Now, Friesche went off, and he was going to be all right, but there was contact back on the track. That was contact between Dennis Shanning and Sam Doby, who got turned around.
Yeah, and you can see him here, Gernot taking to the outside. He's gonna follow Frichtenkarde, who's gonna lock up his brakes. And Gernot is gonna, he's not able to turn in. He has to go straight, and he goes back to the track. He's innocent here, returns fairly safely. There's gonna be contact, Sam Doby, Dennis Shanning. And Sam Doby spun around. Gernot braked to avoid him. Alex Milward didn't see him and ran right into the back of Gernot. And he's gonna be sorry, I'm sure, about that.
Take a look at Doby there. Yeah, you can see him get turned around and then just punted by Millward. Nowhere. He had nowhere to go on track. So those are 2 of the 3 winners this season. Millward, of course, getting that amazing victory at Le Mans a couple weeks ago. And like I mentioned earlier, Gernot winning the season opener at Watkins Glen. The only other driver to win a race this year is Tomas Simon, who's got a trio as he continues to lead this one here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, and up in your second place, we got changes because Frichtenkarde and Steve Bycroft came a little bit together on Druid's hairpin. As a result of that, Freak was punted out, and he's all the way outside of the top 10 right now, I do believe, or might be just in the 10th place actually. Yeah, Frichtenkarde all the way down to 10th place, and that's gonna promote a couple of guys in there. And now there was a fair bit of contact between Bycroft and Frichtenkarde. Bycroft's car looks all right, but that's gonna give Mike Rasimas even more chances here. And we got a replay of that one as well. Let's go to it right now. So here you go, you're coming into Druid's hairpin. You come all the way down Paddock Hill Bend. You're gonna see here Steve Bycroft getting a bit crazy behind Frichtenkarde, who's losing time to Tomas. He's gonna take a look to the inside, miss his braking spot just a little bit, and there was a bit of ghost contact between those 2. And Frichtenkarde gonna spin out and lose a lot of time. He's gonna do a Gernot here. Only that he didn't get collected by anyone, so he's gonna be back. Yeah, 2 of those guys losing a lot of time, and Frichtenkarde gonna fight his way back along with the likes of Chris Baumann, who's actually lost the position to Honey Kostener.
Yeah, he's back in 10th place now. After starting up on that front row, things started to separate at the top of the timing and scoring. By the way, you can check out that timing and scoring over at GSRC.tv. Looking through the field at all of the battling, and I'm seeing a couple of battles in the midfield, but right now I think Ozzy, drivers just getting content. They know it's a long race in terms of lap time, or in terms of number of laps. They just want to stay focused here and really just log laps here early.
Yeah, it's 37 laps, and it's almost as long as the Race of Champions was in 1979, held here too at Brands Hatch. That was 40 laps.
We got problems. Pavlovsky is off the track.
Oh no.
In turn 1 after running in 8th place.
Yeah, and he spun around into the Druid's hairpin once again, a very difficult spot for them. He's going to get back on track safely behind Alex Milburn. We're going to see a replay of that one. I wonder if he just ran a little bit wide on the entry and locked up his brakes.
I think he had help.
Oh yeah. Going down to the inside, let's see here, and oh yeah, that's a bit of help to the inside, all right. And I think that was Oscar Rinne.
It was indeed in the number 10 car. He's going to move up to 8th with that. Frichtenkarde is going to get a position out of this as well. He moves up to 9th.
Yeah, and that's an interesting position. You saw them there coming together. I think Oscar was content that Pavlovsky was going to leave the inside line open. And, well, Pavlovsky wasn't going to leave the inside line open. And Pavlovsky once again running a little bit wide. And that's the corner I was talking about earlier on, with no runoff on the exit. So, that's a very difficult one. Machine curve, very difficult one to navigate. Because you got nothing on the exit to save you if you run a little bit wide. You just got glass, and it's such a high-speed place that you're gonna spin out so easily. And that's one of my top tips for drivers making mistakes. But it's also where you can gain a lot of time if you manage to brake it and hit the line just right.
Yeah, and that banked Brabham straightaway, the front stretch here, that allows you to carry so much speed down in there. You want to make something of it, but a lot of times you can't, just with the nature of that turn. We're watching 3rd place here, the battle for the final step on the podium. They've kind of formed a bit of a train. Right now it's Mike Rasimas who leads that.
Yeah, Mike Rasimas, Teemu Vaskilampi, Jamie Hall, all of those guys. Eetu Vainiokan was up in 6th place as well, so he's going to have another great race for him after a good showing at Oldham Park last week. Carl Villeneuve 7th too, so that's an impressive performance by him. And a lot of guys there who are a bit of black aces here. So after Gernot's been taken out of the front contention, Chris Bauman is not there. You haven't got Alex Milward here. You haven't got Andretti racing this week either. You're gonna see a lot of new faces here, delivering great performances here at Brands Hatch, and I wonder how their nerves are gonna hold on, especially as behind them you got Frick and Kade. Remember, he qualified on the front row. A blistering performance by him, and he's behind this train now. And he's potentially looking at the top 5 once again, but he's gonna have to fight his way for it.
Certainly will. They're fighting back for 16th place as well. This is Robert Plumley holding off a lot of drivers as he catches a little bit of the curb. Andrew Dixon right behind him, Edmund Blackadder.
Yeah, and you got Gernot and Alex in the pack as well, and Pawlowski too. And here we're gonna go side by side. Dixon trying to get a good exit, but that's not the way you do it, Andrew. That's not the way you do it in that corner, and he's gonna find out because he stuck it to the inside too early. He didn't focus on the exit, and as a result of that, he didn't get a great run onto the following straight, and he's gonna have to follow through these fast right-handers with Blackadder, with Gernot, and with Alex Milward watching behind them. And Alex, he's got he's got a lot of damage to his front wing. So Gernot's car definitely not 100%, and he's still catching these guys. Just goes to show the kind of skill the Red Baron has. Under the last corner they come. I wonder if Andrew Dixon is going to look aggressive on the inside. No, he's not. And that's a shame because that's a corner where you can usually catch drivers off guard. But yeah, Robert Plumley, he's going to have to do a lot of defending, does he? And great content for his team, certainly. But not necessarily the place I would like to be in with all these guys catching him up.
Yeah, if there was ever a racetrack where defending was made easier by the circuit itself, this is one of those tracks, and Robert Plumley getting a little bit of help here. He's got, what is that, 4, 5, 6 cars all behind him, just nose to tail right now, and a very eager Andrew Dixon to get around him.
Yeah, he was already alongside into Graham Hill Bend and coming to Surtees here, just picking the curb on the inside, and you don't want to do that. And the thing for Andrew Dixon right now is that he's got Edmund and Gernot and Alex behind him. And if he doesn't get something done soon, then those drivers behind are gonna get anxious and gonna get a little bit greedy maybe, and a little bit, inspired to show Andrew how overtaking is done around his cars. And in the lead of that pack, Robert Plumley going a little bit wide there, and once again using every inch of the racetrack. He's driving surprisingly well and gonna hit that patch of grass, and out he goes, spinning out, not hitting the ball fortunately, but you're just gonna see how difficult the Sterling's Bend is with his cars. So he's spun out.
Take a look at this again. Yeah, this is him on board. I think the right rear just clips a little bit. That's enough to send him out of control. Tough break for him. He did such a great job defending.
Yeah, he was so good for so long, but then he just spun out, got a little bit greedy with the racing line. If we move back to that battle for 16th place, we're gonna move to P7 actually, because there's a great battle going on here between Villeneuve and Oscar Rinne. Rinne gonna look to the outside, but not gonna get it done running out racetrack here. However, he does get a great exit, and once again, right up in the tailpipe of the man who shares the surname of the driver who won here in the 1979 Racing Champions.
And he's gonna get by him. Oh, that was close. Just thread the needle perfectly there. Don't forget about Freak Tenkata, who's trying to move up through the field. He sits right back there watching this happen in front of him. We ride on board with Carl Villeneuve, who's going to try to get this position back, but he seems to be struggling for grip right now. Reno looks fast.
Yeah, Rinne looks very fast indeed. And, Oscar Rinne doing a very brave overtake there on the inside. Not going to give any room at all for Carl Villeneuve to wiggle. And Villeneuve had to give in at that point. And Frick Tenkata is going to look at him next. And I wonder if Frick is driving with a similar-minded setup as usual, which means a lot of straight-line speed. And we're going to see it here as they navigate through the Graham Hill Bend and the 30th corner. And Villeneuve going to run a little bit wide, and that's going to give an opportunity.
Opens the door for sure, but is he going to be able to seal the deal? Gets up on the inside. He's got the grip, but that doesn't allow him to have the speed here. Down through the drop. Yeah, that's definitely going to go back in preference to Carl Villeneuve, and he's going to be able to hold off for now. Frick Tenkata, one of those drivers, though, that's faster than a lot of these midfield drivers, just got shuffled back through incidents, and now they're getting held up.
Yeah, but that's the story of his races so far this season.
Yeah.
I've been watching, because he's great in qualifying. He's absolutely flying in qualifying. but then in races he just does not have the consistency for one reason or another. So that's definitely something he's gonna have to work on, and I think it comes down to methods of practice. A lot of the time you see drivers practicing, they're gonna practice for the hot lap. They're gonna be on top of the timing sheet on the practice sessions, on the practice times allocated for these drivers, and they're gonna want to beat the next guy. And I wonder if Drake is doing a little bit too much hot lap practice. And that's gonna eat his consistency, because in the race he thinks that, okay, I know this track, I know how to be fast here. But in the race conditions, the car lives so much. There's so many things that the car is gonna go through. You're gonna have to adjust so many things that he doesn't have the race consistency that's needed to bring out the great points. He's already good. He's good for a top 10 each and every week almost. But he has the chance to become great. And I think that's where he's gonna have to just, change his philosophy up a bit. Practice a little bit more and practice the race stints more, because practicing those race stints, it's not gonna eat away at your qualifying performance. You're gonna be still a great qualifying team. You're just gonna have more consistency, which in turn brings you more reliability and more points in the long run.
One of those drivers that I think is getting better and better every week at consistent runs is the guy right behind him, Chris Bauman, who's been closing in steadily. He got a little bit sideways in qualifying, heated up the tires, started back well outside the top 10. I believe it was 14th. And he has been moving up steadily. And right now, with Tankata and Villeneuve going at it for 8th place, he's been able to reel them in a little bit. He might be able to make this a 3-man show here soon.
Yeah, and you can see them. You can see Chris just hunting them down, and each and every lap that Tankata is stuck behind, car will move. It's going to be a chance for Chris Bauman, even if Chris has a bit of damage to his front wing. And that's going to occur quite a lot, actually. At Brands Hatch, you're going to cut so many curves and you're going to run so wide at some corners that you're going to get some damage inevitably in the race, because you want to run the car low to the ground. But still, you can see the consistency here at Bauman on display. Going to turn right here and just using every inch of the racetrack. However, to me, it looks like that car of Bauman is understeering just a little bit, so the front damage pretty much real, and he's gonna want it to be a little bit sharper on the corner entries and a little bit more grip on the corner exits. It's not quite dialed down as I would personally want it, but maybe to Chris style, it's perfect.
Certainly working for him now. We'll have to keep an eye on that, see if he's able to close in anymore. Obviously this race still has a leader. It's Tomas Simon, and that gap is not as big as I would have thought it would be at this point. It's only about 3 seconds over Steve Bycroft and then the rest of the field.
Yeah, and if we can throw up a lap comparison here, then you're gonna see why. Because Steve Bycroft has been actually quite good as they approach the middle portion of this race. I say portion, not quite the middle part, but the middle portion where the tire temps are gonna be at their optimal range, where they still have a bit of fuel on board. And you can see it here. Look at Bycroft. He's been actually catching, losing, catching, and they've been very, very, very close in terms of lap times these last couple of laps, both of them in the low 14s. And as we are running on board with Steve Bycroft, once again, you can see a bit of, if you watch the left side of the front wing, you see it a little bit bent up, but that's not necessarily, bad damage. That's just something that happens so easily with these cars. So don't be too alarmed. Steve Bycroft here turning in a 114.3 against Tomas Simon's 113.8, so losing half a second last time by, and it was a bit of a rough lap, so no wonder. But I wonder now if these guys are gonna play a bit of cat and mouse here, and both of them daring each other to go faster and faster.
I think the next closest battle on track is going to be for 4th place. It might not happen. I've been watching Jamie Hall just very slightly close in on Teemu Vaskilampi. He was about 3/10 quicker the last lap. And we know Jamie Hall certainly's got the pace. The problem is that Teemu Vaskilampi oftentimes does as well, especially in this car.
Yeah, especially in this car, but it's not his track, Brands Hatch. He's been talking about it, just not finding the pace here. Just not, finding consistency. And that's the case with some drivers in a lot of tracks. And that's what separates the greats from the very goods. Is that you find the consistency week in, week out, but this is just not Teemu's kind of track. He's been suffering from wheel issues earlier on, managed to get them fixed earlier this week, but still just not finding the consistency here. And you can somewhat see it in that he's not quite as brave, not quite as committed as he usually is. He's taking some of those exits quite wide, but not in a good way, and missing the apex at Battlefield Vent there. And all the while, Jamie Hall is doing what Jamie Hall does best, which is applying pressure, catching him up, and really bringing the fight to Teemu for that 4th place. And behind them, you got Eetu Vainio Kangas as well, not too far away. And if these two guys start battling, as we often see, then that's gonna be maybe Eetu's opportunity to steal a place away as well from his countryman as well as from Jamie.
Yeah, we just had a problem with Chris Bauman on the front straightaway. He got turned around. This was all by himself, it looked like. He was running really well, like we mentioned, in 10th place, moving forward, and must have just gotten a little too eager. Take a look again.
Yeah, and that's after it happened. I think he's that looks like he's ran away after the ran too wide on the last corner. And he's gonna come to it here, and we're gonna finally see it. A lot of damage to his back end, and you saw the tail end of the accident. Here you're gonna see it running wide, probably on the last corner. Oh yeah, just touching the grass. He tried to save it, but he didn't two-foot it, and that's what's gonna happen when you wiggle to your wheel and not two-foot it. You're gonna be in the wall. However, Chris Bauman is still actually continuing on in the 15th place, I do believe. But yeah, if you look at the back end of the car that you're gonna see on the shot here into the main straight. That's not how Colin Chapman designed it.
No, and that car is sideways as well. He is struggling. It is impressive he only lost 5 spots, though, with that. Maybe he'll even be... Oh, he's already getting sideways as well, but we're up to P8 right now. Carl Villeneuve and Freak Tenkata. The battle that he was watching, now he's out of sight of it. Yeah, Tenkata still trying to get around the 11 of Villeneuve.
Yeah, and Tenkata certainly has his work cut out for him, but I think he's a little bit stuck at this point. And kudos to Carl Villeneuve, because that's such a difficult position. He was overtaken by Oscar Rinne, remember, and then Carl had to fight off immediately the attack from Freak Tenkata, and he not only did that successfully, but also has managed to turn his consistency back on and just not gonna give Freak any opportunities here.
We continue to ride along just like that. Freak Tenkata certainly doesn't seem too content. I've seen him stick his nose out once in a while. Keeping a tighter line, it looked like there, through turn number 1.
Yeah, and outside of your pictures, we can report that Teemu and Jamie are closing in. We're gonna stay with this now. Oh! Freak! Getting a little bit freaky on Graham Hill Bend, and as a result of that, losing a bit of time. However, a very nice save from Freak, actually, that one. So he's gonna be able to hold on to it and not lose too much time on Carl Villeneuve. But I think what he's doing here is trying to focus on the exit of the corner, which is exactly the right game plan. You're not gonna find from that distance, you're not gonna find an overtaking opportunity outbraking someone. So you're gonna have to out-launch someone and get the opportunity onto the next straight, which is what he's trying to do. Unfortunately, a little bit too brave on the throttle pair, but he's gonna get it one of these times. And he has the right idea. Get a good exit from Graham Hill Bend, get a good entry into 30s, maybe force Carl Villeneuve a little bit offline, and as a result of that, take him on the back straight. I think that's the game plan Freak has right now. Let's see if he's able to execute.
He's certainly going to have to try something here. A lot of times here, a pass comes simply from the driver in front making a mistake. But Carl Villeneuve has been pretty flawless the last handful of laps we've been watching these two.
Yeah, he hit the curb on the inside of turn number 1 there on this lap call, and I wonder if Freak saw that. And once again, now it's a great exit. Now he didn't get sideways. Let's see how he takes is. On the more exit-oriented line. Oh yeah, and that's a good one, and he's gonna be close now.
Yeah, he's gonna get a run. But what is he gonna be able to do with it? It's a fast couple of right-handers. Looks like Freak might be backing off a little bit through there, maybe trying to get another run.
Yeah, he was topping out at 240 km an hour, and even for Brands Hatch, that's a little bit low. And I wonder if, he was just running out of top speed, or if he was just, not getting the run that he wanted because car wheel move, he wasn't able to catch wheel move at all there on the straight. So he's gonna need a better run here. And I wonder if it's a gearing issue because a lot of the time, those drivers take the next corner that's coming up, the fast right-hander, they're gonna take it in top gear, Hawthorne's bend. They're gonna take it in 5th gear. So, maybe he's just set his 5th gear so that he's gonna take the straight and the corner with the same gear. And maybe that 5th gear is a little bit too short to get a run, in which case his man, freaking Kade, is gonna be in a lot of trouble in terms of overtaking.
He almost was there big time, but we're going to take a look at this again from inside the car. Watch the hands here with this catch.
Yeah, this cat's got catch. Got it here. Exit of corner. Nice found us there. Yeah, steer into the skid, and that was a textbook save.
It was a good save, but he's going to lose ground. Now back about half a second behind him. More than that, actually. It's going to be about 1 full second.
Yeah, and the field is pretty strung out at the moment at Brands Hatch here, and that's really what we expect halfway through the race. Because it's a track where it's not easy to follow someone, and once you get the overtake done, if you can't get the overtake done, you're gonna make a mistake more often than not, and this is what it is. And, some people would say it's boring. I don't think it's boring at all. Because just hot lapping around Brands Hatch, it's such an exciting all-time race circuit, which gives you absolutely no leeway. And so these drivers are on the edge. Make no mistake, they are on the edge each and every lap. And something I'm watching right now is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And that's Rasimas, Vaskilampi, and Jamie Hall. It's not quite close enough for it to be, super exciting just yet. But to me, it looks like Teemu's a little bit faster than Mike at the moment. And Jamie is, when he's on a good lap, a little bit faster than both of them. So they might be onto each other sooner, or not soon, but, in the later portions of this event, Nick. And, you see these guys here. Mike Rasimas, Teemu Vaskilampi as well. Rasimas last time by 14.1 and Teemu 14.0 and Jamie Hall 13.9.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Jamie Hall and Teemu Vaskilampi were within less than half a second to each other not too long ago, and already you see a huge gap in between them. So patience has become the name of the game for many of these drivers as they work lap number 21 of 37 here in the UK.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, there's 3 drivers last time by who were able to, if you go on to GSRC.tv for our live timing and spotting, you're gonna find it out yourself too. But 3 drivers last time by who went under 114 into the 113s. Can you name them for me, Nick? 2 first ones are gonna be obvious.
Well, it's gonna be Tomas Simone leading this thing. Setting a nice pace lap out there. Steve Botcroft keeping up with him, and Jamie Hall. It would look like.
Yeah, Jamie Hall
closing in. Yeah.
And he's closing in on Teemu, and he's closing in on Teemu quite rapidly. We are on board with him with that leafy helmet, the Christmas helmet, as I would like to call it. And, green and red, reminding me of the old Minnesota Wild hockey jerseys, actually, which were terrible. But yeah. And I say that as a fan of the team. Teemu finding out a bit of pace, going under 114s, but Jamie is 2 tenths faster. And this is going to get closer and closer now, as Teemu's gonna be once again under a lot of pressure. There was a brief period where Teemu was able to get away a little bit, but now Jamie's got his wheels under him and he's feeling the race car once again, and he's finding a bit of pace here, 13.7, and all the while they're still slowly but surely catching up to Mike.
Yeah, Jamie was just messing with him when he fell off the speed. He knew he was coming back.
That's what Jamie's gonna say. That's what Jamie's gonna say. Oh yeah, I'm just messing with you. But that's an excuse.
Wanted to give him some fake confidence.
Yeah, exactly. How do you give Teemu Vaskilampi some confidence? Have you heard a man in an interview ever? But yeah, anyway, they're in this tight battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. What is 4th and 5th right now? And that's about the positions what we expect from these guys. But I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to the man in third place, Mike Rasimas, because he's looking what I feel is his first broadcast race podium as Tomas Simon goes in faster, 13.4. He's just, trying to shatter lap records there at Brands Hatch. But Mike Rasimas, he is, having a great run for himself. Started 7th, got elevated into P number 3 after the mistakes from drivers such as Gernot and such as Frick and Kade as well from ahead of him. But make no mistake, he's had a great run so far. And he's actually, taking that candy to places where it belongs, but usually in the hands of another driver. That's Gernot, his teammate.
Yeah, Gernot's been struggling, but despite him being in traffic, and look at this, he's certainly in traffic now. That's Chris Bauman holding up Dylan Freckleton in front of Gernot Frisch. They get a little bit wide entry there for Dylan. That's going to allow Gernot to move up a spot.
Yeah, and he's got that damaged car of Chris Bauman, Chris Bauman, who is Mike Rasimas' teammate, not Gernot Frisch. Those cars very similarly colored, but that's a Lotus that Gernot is driving. And, Gernot now right behind Chris Bauman. They both moved Dylan Freckleton now behind them. But Gernot's car, it's a little bit less damaged than that of Chris Bauman. But it's certainly a battle of attrition for both of these guys. Gernot not finding the pace at all here. His front wing is gone. And as for Chris Bauman, I can't help but wonder how he's keeping that thing on track. Because Brands Hatch is difficult enough on its own. And he's going to run a little bit wide and just going to have to let Gernot through, who passes him on the outs. And Dylan actually joining in as well. Look at behind him. Dylan Freckleton.
I'm wondering if Chris Bauman is just kind of letting them go by, trying to keep that car in. I guess you could still say that car's in one piece.
Yeah, sorta, kinda, as Alex Milford moved his way past Dennis Channing for the 14th place too.
Oh, okay.
Outside of your picture, so we're gonna see those guys who lost their positions earlier on dropping time, and let's move on to 11th, because you got Barry West and you got Juan Costa here in a good battle. Barry West 3 tenths slower last time by, and Juan Costa gonna try to elevate himself into 11th place ahead of the driver who we've heard of many times having a great race here in the midfield, Barry West, the midfield warrior, the driver who likes to go west in the tune of Pet Shop Boys. And I wonder if he's going to be able to hold on here, because he's still got 14 laps to go.
Yeah, good run for Barry today, up in 11th. Same for Costa, trying to get around him. Right in front of him, well, I say right in front of him, 6 or 7 seconds in front of him is Paul Williams, holding off the last spot in the top 10. Oh, look at this, down to the bottom of the track. Costa's going to have to go back up high. He's going to have the outside to turn number 1. He's going to be able to make it stick out there. Oh, up on the curbs, trying to get back on the racing surface. He does. He's going to outbrake him as well. He's going to have the preferred line going back downhill. Barry West trying to hold him off. Now he's going to try the crossover move, the over-under.
Yeah, and he had a great run through Graham Hill Bend. He's going to try to Surtees on the inside. Is he going to be brave enough? Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, but he can't quite make it stick. Has a bit of a bobble.
What a battle.
See if he can get him back here. He's got a big run on him. Oh, careful of the grass. We've seen drivers go off before with that, and that's going to really hurt his corner. Barry West struggling. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Barry West realized a bit too late that, oh, I'm in the grass. He's running to the grass literally about 100 yards. Then he took like, oh, I don't want to turn in from here. And he messed up his corner as a result of that and lost a bit of time to Juan Costa. But Barry West, in the tow, he might still be in the mix here. And they had a great battle, and I really liked what Barry was trying. He wasn't quite able to get the power down, but he got a great crossover from Graham Hill Bend and was able to keep it going through Surtees. And now once again he's gaining on the straights. You can see it here, look. And I wonder if he's a little bit faster on the straight line than Juan Costa is. And behind them you got in front of them Frick and Kade actually got past Carl Villeneuve. And Carl Villeneuve gonna have a run on the outside. You can see it here as we move on to a replay of the original move. So you can see the move here on the inside to the Surtees corner. And Frick and Kade gonna get by. And Carl Villeneuve tried it on the next straight. Nothing doing there, but Villeneuve is still mighty close if we move on to live pictures here at the back end of the racetrack. Here you're gonna see it again, Car Villeneuve trying it on the outside, nothing doing there. Not usually an overtaking place.
He's been chipping away at that one for a while. Freak Sankata finally up into P number 8. But for how long? Villeneuve, like you said, he's got a big run already. Down to turn number 1. They're going to be side by side. Villeneuve trying to hold it down there. He can't do it. It's a little bit sideways. Thinks better of it. Gets out of the gas. Let's Freak Sankata move on.
Yeah, Graham, a paddock hill bend, not usually an overtaking spot, and Villeneuve tried it. Tried to send a message to Freak Sankata, not able to do it here, and lost a bit of ground actually through the first sector.
So Villeneuve, who appears to maybe have the faster car. Let's see if he's able to track him back down here. He's already losing a bit of ground. Coming to 10 laps to go is Tomas Simon, who's got a 5-second lead now over the rest of the field. It was 3 seconds last time we checked in. He's opened that up a bit.
Yeah, he has, and just been driving a perfect race, really has Tomas, you know. Once again here, he got the lead early on, he had the pole position, and since then, he's been just fending off all the attacks. And he's gonna come up to lap traffic in these last 10 laps, which might be a little bit of a worry for him. That's gonna be Paulos, that's gonna be Plumley, Dixon as well, and even potentially Bauman as well, that he's gonna lap here in this race. But I think they're gonna be kind enough to let our race leader.
And another one we've been keeping one eye on is Jamie Hall closing in on Teemu Vaskilampi. That's a battle for 4th place. Jamie Hall, I believe we can now say that he's caught him.
He's caught him.
That is tight right there. Half a second in closing.
Yeah, it's very, very close. And lap traffic for those guys, it's not going to be as big of an effect. They already got by Sam Doby there. Sam Doby who got damaged on lap number 1, remember? And then Jamie and Teemu's just going to have a battle among themselves unless they can catch up to Mike. But Mike's been able to find the right side pedal in these last couple of laps, and as a result has opened the gap up to 3 seconds. So I think it's going to be between Teemu and Jamie in these last couple of laps, unless a miracle happens. Teemu and Jamie both going very fast, but once again we've seen how difficult overtaking is here. So Jamie is going to have to get quite creative if he wants to get that Williams through Teemu's brother.
Sounded like Robert Plumley had some problems as well. He's taken that car to the pits. I think he went off in turn number 1. He was running back in 21st, I believe, at the time. Him and Andrew Dixon actually got together over there.
And here we're going to jump on board with Jamie Hall, and you're going to see these fast corners that are getting even faster and faster as the race rolls along. Because Nick, as we've mentioned multiple times before, watching this series, watching the classic Lotus Grand Prix, the Sunday Grand Prix series, the greatest spectacle in sim racing, in my opinion. Which is of course always correct because I'm the expert commentator. So yes. So we see the cars getting lighter and lighter as the race progresses on, and this is one of the rare cars which are getting faster and faster as the race rolls along. The tires are wearing out more, sure, especially the rear tires. So you're gonna see more sliding, but you're also gonna see them get faster and a little bit looser as well, which usually allows for more opportunities, especially if the driver in front is a little bit uncomfortable. However, I talked with them this week, and he said he's a bit uncomfortable this week. He's not at the pace he usually feels like. And even with that in mind, he's driving himself what is a very good and consistent race.
Well, certainly up here running in the top 5, whether you're under attack or being the attacker, I'd say is a good race.
Yeah, it most certainly is, and something that's gonna heat up sooner rather than later, I feel, is 12th place between Barry West and Alex Milward. Because Milward, we know his pace, he's been getting into the sub-14s as well, and he's now within the draft range of Barry West here. The gap between them, you can see it's just half a second. These cars get drafted from 6 tenths away. They get dirty air from about a second away, but it's not that much. because these are ground effect cars, so the turbulent area is not so bad. Still, Alex, I can't help but think he's gonna find his way through Batty before this race is over.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised. Millward was one of the lucky ones. All these drivers that have had issues early on, like Gernot Friesche, they've fallen back and they've kind of stayed back. Alex Millward has done a good job coming back up through the field. Only in 13th, of course, but still better than nothing.
Oh, fourth now. Because Jamie Hall has great run on them.
Oh, he
here
does.
on the 30th bend. Vaskalampi made a bit of a mistake on the early portion of the lap. However, we're not going to get through there.
That was a great attempt, though, either way.
Yeah, and the battles are heating up as we move on to later portions of this race, Nick. And it's always a good Brands Hatch race when it kind of like, at the start, there's exciting things happening, a couple of drivers making a mistake. Then we have the calm before the storm, that is the final laps.
Track looks a lot darker as well. I think the clouds have rolled in here in a couple parts of the track. Well, it started out as a nice blue sky day. That track temperature already I've seen dropping. It's down to 91 Fahrenheit. The air temperature definitely has dropped.
Yeah, and that's 19 Celsius air temp and 33 track temp for the 98% of the world that uses these calculations.
Either way, that track might get a little bit nicer for these drivers late in this thing. As their tires heat up, the track's going to cool down a little bit.
Yeah, it is, and that's going to make it a little bit easier for the cars that's going to be worn out. But I wonder how they got their setup built. Do they have it for the partly sunny, or do they have it for the clouds that are going to be rolling in? Because that's depending, you're going to have to change the balance of the car depending on the weather. You're going to have a bit more grip for the tires, and also tires that are going to be slower to heat up if it's going to be cloudy versus sunny weather. So a lot of these things matter, and they might even help explain some of the performance that these drivers have been having in this race.
Yeah.
Different approach to setups, as they actually have some lap traffic in form of Andrew Dixon here in front of Vaskalampi and Hall.
They do, and depending on where they get him, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Dixon lets them go by here on the front straightaway. He might not be there in time, though. They're going to have to take to the inside. That's going to hurt Jamie Hall a little bit more. That was a close call, but it's not going to face Jamie Hall. He stays just as much of a gap as he had before, maybe even a closer gap with Vaskalampi.
Yeah, and Andrew there, I think he could have afforded to, I don't like to criticize lap cars usually. He did well getting out of the way and all, but he would have done even better had he just lifted a little bit more once he saw the cars moving alongside, because he's not in a battle here. He's in 20th place. He's got eons behind him and in front of him as well. He can afford to lose a bit of time to these guys and just make sure he gets them by safely, because that was very close. Too close for comfort between Jamie and Andrew there on turn number 1. But, all good. They got through him without troubles and fair game. And now Jamie and Teemu are going to continue the battle, as you saw there, Jamie getting a little bit sideways.
Not sideways enough to take him out of contention. That's been the name of the game all day long. As Tomas Simone has gone purple, he sets a fastest lap.
12.9. That's, for comparison, that would have qualified him 9th in this race.
Yeah, that's pretty good, as he works lap 34 in the race.
Yeah, and usually in the past with the old tire model, you could see drivers sometimes approaching qualifying times in the last couple of laps of this race. Not so common with the new one, that's wearing out a little bit more. There's a little bit more authentic. iRacing's been doing great things with this tire model with the Lotus 79. Drivers love it. Fans certainly love it, giving it a little bit more of that cross-ply feel that is true to the late 70s racing tires. And we're watching Steve Bycroft now in the 2nd place, and he's had a great race. A little bit of contact early on, a little bit naughty perhaps there, and since then, not being able to catch Simon up, but a very consistent performance. And then behind him, Michael Simas, but we should really move on to 4th place now, because that's once again getting mighty close.
Yeah, Jamie Hall keeps catching Teemu Vaskalampi, but it's never in a place that he can make a move.
Yep.
and then he gets a run on him, and the same thing happens. The run just kind of stalls out at the wrong time for one reason or another. He's running out of time, though. They've got 3 laps to go now at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, and Jamie turning in a little bit too early on turn number 1 there. You saw him taking the early apex, gonna hit the curb as a result of that, not gonna get a good exit to Druid's hairpin, which is one of the overtaking spots on this track, and we've seen surprisingly few moves there, more mistakes than moves, really. So Jamie here just content on following Teemu through these first couple of corners, 10 onto the back straight, and 10 onto the newer portion of the circuit, built in the 60s, the extending part, with a lot of fast corners. And I find here, and especially on the last sector, that Jamie's at his strongest. But you don't really have any overtaking opportunities there, do you?
Not really, unless you're brave enough to make something of it. The problem for Jamie right now is he just can't get close enough in those areas. Both of them really driving the car aggressively here. You can especially see that out of the number 7 of Jamie Hall. That might hurt him more than it helps him when it comes down to it. And it is down to 2 laps to go now.
Very brave on the last corner there by Jamie Hall, getting a better exit than Teemu does. You know, sending it a little bit earlier, and you always have to kind of trust the banking there on the last corner. And now Teemu turned in a little bit too early, hit the curb on turn number 1, Parakill bend, and as a result of that, look at Jamie now. He's closer than ever through Druids, and into Graham Hill they go, and into Surtees as well. And now if he keeps it at this range and gets a great run out of Surtees corner here, named after the 1964 Formula 1 World Champion John Surtees, also the first driver to win World Championships and the only driver to win World Championship in 2 and 4 weeks. By the way, a great driver him. So, you know, great driver to name a corner in a track that's seen racing in 2 and 4 weeks as well after. But yeah, Jamie Hall, 2 laps to go. Next time round, 1 lap to go. It looks very difficult for him, I must say. He's gonna have to bank on a mistake by them. Not like we haven't seen tops in the past.
Oh.
But Jamie there getting very sideways, and I think that's all she wrote.
I think that's the mistake we were waiting for. And fortunately for Jamie, it came out of himself rather than Teemu Vaskilampi. Let's jump up to Tomas Simon, who leads this race. The white flag has already flown for him.
1:12.6
turns. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is fast.
That's crazy fast. And if we talk qualifying time comparisons, yeah, that's up in P5, P6 pretty much. 1:12.6 for Tomas Simon. Let's see if Tetsarov Hervar can get even faster on the last lap.
It's only round number 6 of this 13-week season, and Tomas Simon is about to come around the couple final turns and he's going to make that trio of wins a quartet and make his 4th victory of the year. He's going to sweep the races back-to-back in England at Alton Park last week, and it's going to be at Brands Hatch this week as Tomas Simon wins round 6 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series.
Yeah, he's hailing from the City of Kings, and he had his coronation out here today at last, and he's going to be the front runner in terms of championship. Bycroft coming second, and it's going to be Rasimas coming home, P number 3, and 10 behind him. Teemu Vaskilampi managing to hold on Jamie Hall all the way to the end.
Close battle behind them as well. Oscar Rina holds off A2 Vainio Kangas for 6th and 7th. Freak Tenkata, what a rebound.
Yeah, and Juanmi Costa and Alex Milward are going to come to the line as well. Alex Milward just ahead. And in front of them, they got the damaged car of Freak Tenkata, who's limping all
Yeah, this happened on the last lap.
Yeah, I wonder if you're going to get a replay of that one later on. Freak Tenkata, however, able to finish in top 10 just. Barry West 11th, and 10 it's going to be Juanmi Costa and Alex Milward. And Milward and Costa finishing in that order.
Great job for Tenkata. That car crabs across the line. And with that, we're going to step aside on the Global SimRacing Channel for a few moments. We're going to wait for drivers to file in for interviews, and we'll give you a full rundown of results when we are back. Welcome back to the Brands Hatch circuit here in England, where another race in England has gone Tomas Simone's way. He gets his second straight win and his fourth on the season so far. He gets the win. Steve Bycroft and Mike Rasimus, an impressive drive for both of them. They're going to round out the podium alongside of him. Teemu Voskilampi is going to hold off a hard-charging Jamie Hall, and they're going to wind up 4th and 5th. Another good battle at the end. Oskari Rina is going to hold off Eetu Vainio-Kangas at the end, 6th and 7th. Carl Villeneuve, who was involved in a lot of battling in the middle part of the race, he's going to wind up 8th after starting in 10th. A great drive from Paul Williams, a quiet race after starting in 17th. He's going to finish in the top 10 and in 9th place. Great job for the 18 car there. And Freek Tenkata, after starting second, will round out the top 10.
Indeed, in 11th place, it is Barry West starting 13, having a consistent race for himself and managing to hold on the challenges of hard-charging Alex Milward. Started 24th all the way from the back, was involved in a first lap incident along with the likes of Gernot, and finishing 12th in this race ahead of Juan Micosta. Dennis Shanning 14th, another driver involved in the lap 1 shenanigans, as is Gernot Fletcher, the Red Baron championship leader, now 15th in this race. Not a great result at all. Derek Rolwell 16th, and 10 one lap down Dylan Freckleton and Pawlowski, Blackadder, Dixon, and Doby as well, from 17th through 21st. And your list of retirements from this event, just 3 drivers: Chris Bauman, Robert Plumley, and Brian Blackford, rounding out your 24 driver field.
Very impressive race from everyone, but one of the most impressive runs today was Mike Rasimus. He was caught up with us. He finishes 3rd place today after starting 7th. It's your first podium in the Sunday Grand Prix Series on the broadcast. How does that feel, Mike?
It feels really good. I'm really excited about that. I know I started in 7th, and I basically just tried to avoid whatever was happening on the first lap. I don't know exactly what happened. I haven't seen it yet, but just happy to keep it together, keep it on the track for this race, which is really hard to do when Teemu's chasing you. So yeah, really happy about P3.
Yeah, absolutely. How were the first couple of laps just getting settled into place? You're trying to avoid everyone, trying to keep it together, but also when you have that kind of pace, you want to keep it, moving forward. You want to keep that momentum up.
That's exactly what it felt like. It was very anxiety inducing. So I was happy to keep it in front of those guys for the whole race.
And then what about the rest of the race? It looked like it was a nice Sunday drive for the most part. I'm sure it was not so much for you, but for us, it looked pretty calm.
Now I'm pretty much sweating buckets over here. So
how about your experience over in the Lionheart series? Did that translate to, how does that work for you over here in the Lotus 79?
those races are really long. They're a lot longer, by 15 or 20 minutes. And I've been really working on my concentration. I feel like halfway through these races I start to lose my mind a little bit, but those races really help me keep my focus.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we know you best from, of course, here on the Global SimRacing Channel. But awesome to see you up in the podium here in the Lotus 79 on the Sunday Grand Prix Series. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I think my family usually watches these races, so I just want to say hi to them.
Awesome. They got a heck of a show today, as always, for the Lotus 79. We'll hopefully, Mike, be able to talk to you later this season.
Thanks a lot.
That's Mike Rasimus getting his first podium ever in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Another congratulations to him. Ozzy, you've caught up with the driver who finished just one spot behind him.
Yes, indeed. We have the always cheerful Teemu Voskilampi here in the booth with us. Teemu, you said it's going to be a difficult week. You had some wheel issues earlier on, managed to get them fixed later on, and 10 Brands Hatch. Just not your kind of track, is it?
Yeah, I had absolutely no confidence for my driving here. I was off pace. I found some qualified pace just before race. I could have actually been higher in grid, but yeah, it was so difficult, and race was so hard. I had no confidence for driving. I would have liked to challenge Mike for 4th position, but I just didn't dare to push any harder. That would have led for mistakes for sure, and then I would have lost even this position. And same was was pushing so hard at the end. It was all the focus I could find. I needed to keep him behind.
Yeah, Teemu, but on that background, and I didn't wanna, throw you under a truck or anything, because on that background, keeping in mind the uncertainty about your equipment and the lack of confidence you have here, fourth place, it's not a bad result at all, man. You beat Gernot and you beat Alex, and all of those guys managed to keep them behind. So fourth place, certainly in terms of points, in terms of championship, that has to feel at least somewhat good, right?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't expect this good result, to be honest. I was quite sure that I can't make into top 5 unless quite many people has some problems with luck, and well, there was quite many people with bad luck. But still, I happy to take the fourth place.
Imola next week. Briefly about that track. Is it better for you than Brands Hatch?
Yeah, it should be. There's no worse track for me than Brands Hatch. So this was my nemesis track. I never do well here. If I'm off pace next week, like I've been the whole week here, then I'm worried. but we will see next week.
Yeah, we'll see hopefully on the podium next week. Thank you, Teemu. And if you have any greetings or anyone you like to thank, then feel free to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, finishing in fourth place, Teemu Vaskilampi.
Just Lotus guys, great community, and you guys for broadcasting. It's always fun to watch this later.
Yeah, it's always fun to do these races, and thank you to Teemu. And to close it off, we're gonna hand the microphone over to Nick, who's found himself someone to talk to.
I have. I'm back in 11th place with the driver who started in 13th, but he had a more exciting race than it sounded. Barry West, you were right in the thick of it for a lot of this race, and you kept it in one piece. That's just got to feel good here at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, it was a good race, an exciting race. Yeah, I messed up lap 1 on turn. Was it the long left-hander uphill after Surtees, and I just went wide, so I lost 3 places on that first lap after a good start. And then it was just a matter. I was stuck behind Derek and Ronnie, and didn't have enough on them. And then I could see Ronnie going away in front, but I think I was a bit quicker than Derek. And I got a run on him into paddock, first bend, turn 1, and I drifted slightly wide, and I think we touched. That didn't send us off, but it slowed us both up and allowed Paul Williams to catch up, and he nipped through on the inside. So I just followed him through and got Derek then. So apologies to Derek for a cheeky pass, but it's very frustrating. Then Paul, he just pulled away. He just had the pace. I could see him catching me. And that was sort of frustrating. I couldn't get past Derek, but I could see Paul catching up. So it's a desperate measure, and apologies to Derek there for not being able to keep it tight, but we both survived that one. So yeah, it's a good race. Pleased with it. Been good all week this year.
Yeah, absolutely. That certainly sounds a bit more eventful than some of the drivers that were running up at the front all by themselves. That's why I'm sure it's so satisfying to come home in 11th place and keep that car in one piece. Is Brands Hatch normally a track you look forward to, or are you happy to overcome a couple of difficulties here?
No track. People say it's not good when you have a lot of races with slow back markers, but I think this adds to the racing. You know, some people gain, some people lose. I mean, I've had one incident out of 4 races here this week, and that was just my fault outbreaking myself into Druids, and that would have been my best result all week, P5 in the race this afternoon. But yeah, but I really enjoy it, and I think it's a good track. It's a real technical track, and there's some nasty corners, but they're so rewarding when you get them right, especially on turn 1. There's a bit of a bump going around there, and if you hit that, if you're off throttle, it spins you. You just got to keep some throttle on. But yeah, there's some little tricks to this track, but I really enjoy it.
Absolutely, and it was a rewarding day for you. 11th place finish. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a thank you or a shout out to?
Well, congrats to Thomas. I mean, he drove an amazing race by the sound of it. He's been fast here all week. But yeah, good result for him. And yeah, and everybody who races makes it such a fair race. Yeah, thanks.
It's always a good show when you guys show up. It's always a good, clean one. We love to see them. That is Barry West finishing down in 11th place today. And with that, that's going to wrap up our driver interviews today. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today, of course, for the 6th round of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, including all the drivers like Barry West who put on the show for us today. An additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. And don't forget, if you're interested in advertising with GSRC, our channel's 1 million monthly global impressions are a great way to get your branding seen by a diverse audience. Follow the link in the description to learn more. Thanks to the crew in the booth today, Ozzy, Sean, and Dougie. And don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can head over to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can show your support by picking up some awesome GSRC merchandise. We're also on Twitter. Check us out there at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham. And of course, you've already found our YouTube channel. Scroll down just a touch and hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. Speaking of racing that you don't want to miss, next up for GSRT today, we've got the snail racing community, bringing you some crazy multi-class action from Road Atlanta. So make sure to tune into that one today at 4:45 p.m. Eastern. To see more of the Lotus 79, we'll be back next week, like we mentioned, at Imola. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us today, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.